Okay, today in honors chemistry, we are going to work with some density problems. You commonly think of density as how light or something is, but density is actually the mass of a substance to its volume. So your formula is D is equal to M over V. If you're talking about a solid, your units will be gram over centimeter cubed. If you're talking about a liquid, it will be grams over milliliters. And for gas, it will be grams over liters. The volume of an object will change with its temperature, so density varies with temp. Okay, here's our first example. It says a piece of beeswax with a volume of 8.50 centimeters cubed is found to have a mass of 8.06 grams. What is its density? You may or may not find it helpful to list stuff over to the side. So M is equal to 8.06 grams. The volume is 8.50 centimeters cubed. Remember, volume can be centimeters cubed, milliliters, or liters, and we are looking for D. So on homework, to get full credit, you need to show your formula. D is equal to M over V. Show all of your work. So we have 8.06 grams divided by 8.50 centimeters cubed. You want your answer in the least number of sig figs. And so 8.50 has 3. This 0 counts since it is a trailing 0 and there's a decimal. And this one has 3. So your answer will be in 3 sig figs. And so you will have 8.06 divided by 8.5. You should get 0.948. This is a mass, this is a volume, so they will both appear in the final answer, grams per centimeters cubed. Okay, you may want to put this on pause and then work your next two examples, and let's see if you get what I get. Okay, so hopefully on the first one, you got the answers 2.50 grams per centimeter cubed. You want it in 3 sig figs because the least number of sig figs in the problem. This is 3, this is 3. The second one, you also want it in 3 sig figs, and so you should have gotten 0.802 grams per mil. Now, on the first question, it asks you if this is aluminum, so you would have to know aluminum's density. So you can go in your textbook on page 971. There's a table of elements. It gives you their melting point, boiling point, all kinds of neat things, but it gives you the density as being 2.7 grams. So you do not have aluminum. The next question says, will this ball sink or float? Well, you have to know the density of water. The density of water is 1 gram per 1 mil. Anything with a lower density than that will float, and so this ball will float. Okay, we can also find volume using density. So if your formula is D is equal to M over V and you want to find volume, you would multiply both sides by V. V would cancel on this side, so now you have M is equal to D times V. And then we want volume by itself, so you're going to divide both sides by density. So your formula would be volume is equal to mass over density. You can also put this in a triangle if that gets you confused. You would put mass on the top, D and V on the bottom. If you're finding volume, you cover it up, and your formula is M over D. So we have cobalt is a hard magnetic metal that resembles iron. It has a density of 8.90 grams per centimeter cubed. We want to find volume. Anytime you have just grams, that is mass. We have a mass of 17.8 grams. Okay, so you're going to show your manipulated formula. V is equal to M over D. Your mass is 17.8 grams. You're going to divide it by 8.90 grams per centimeter cubed. Grams will cancel. You will be left with centimeters cubed, which is a volume unit. This number has 3 sig figs. Trailing zeros count if there's a decimal. This one has 3, so 17.8 divided by 8.90. You get 2 in your calculator. You want 3 sig figs, so you will say 2.00. Okay, next problem, we want to use density to find mass. So once again, your formula is D is equal to M over V. If you want M by itself, you're going to multiply V times both sides. So you get M is equal to density times volume. Okay. Or, once again, you can put it in the triangle, mass on top, density and volume on the bottom. If you want to find mass, you cover it up, and it's D times V. So we have a volume of 19.9 centimeters cubed. We have a density of 1.50 grams per centimeter cubed, and we want to know mass. So your manipulated formula is M is equal to D times V. Your density is 1.50 grams per centimeter cubed. Your volume is 19.9 centimeters cubed. Centimeters cubed will cancel. You will be left with grams, and that is a mass unit. You multiply 1.5, 19.9. You get 29.85. We want this in 3 sig figs, so this will become 29.9 grams. Okay, if you want to put this on pause for a few minutes and work your 2 student practice problems, and then let's see if you get what I got. Okay, on the first problem, you were finding volume. So your manipulated formula is V is equal to M over D. So you took 68 grams, you divided by 10.5 grams per centimeter cubed. 68 has 2 sig figs, 10.5 has 3, so we want this answer in 2 sig figs, so 6.48 will become 6.5 centimeters cubed. Okay, your next problem, you are finding mass, so your formula is density times volume. 19.3 grams per milliliter is your density. 25.0 is your volume, and you want to find mass, so you're just going to multiply across. You should have gotten 4.83 grams. Okay, we can also use density as a conversion factor. Okay, so the first question says the acid in a car battery, which is a solution of sulfuric acid, has a density of 1.2 grams per centimeter cubed. What is the mass of a 2.00 times 10 to the second milliliters of this acid? So the neat thing about density is you can use it to go from milliliters to grams or grams to milliliters. So we have 2.00 times 10 to the second milliliters times, if you will recall from your conversion chart, for every 1 milliliter, you have 1 centimeter cubed times division bar. Looking at our density, for every 1 centimeter cubed, you have 1.2 grams. Milliliters will cancel. Centimeters cubed will cancel. We will be left with grams, which is what we're wanting. So you're going to multiply across the top, divide by what's on the bottom. 2EE2 times 1.2 equals 240 grams. Okay? Okay, the next one, same method. A few years ago, a cartoon pictured a thief making his getaway, gun in one hand and a bucket of gold dust in the other. If the bucket had a volume of 8 quarts and was full of gold, whose density was 19.3 grams per centimeter cubed, what was its density? So we're going to also use this conversion in our problem. So we have 8.00 quarts times, we know that in every 1 quart there's 1 liter, so we're going to say 1.057 quarts on the bottom, so quart cancels in 1 liter. Okay, then we also know that in 1 liter there's 1,000 milliliters. So liters will go on the bottom in this step, so it cancels. So let's go ahead and cancel out quart, liter, okay? Then we remember from the conversion chart that for every 1 milliliter, you have 1 centimeter cubed. And then we can look at our density of gold. If for every 1 centimeter cubed, you have 19.3 grams. So milliliter will cancel, centimeters cubed will cancel. So we just multiply across the top and divide by what's on the bottom. So we're going to take 8 times 1,000 times 19.3 and divide it by 1.057. And we're going to put that in scientific notation. We're going to want our answer in 3 sig figs, so second 5. So we will say the mass of what he has in his bucket is 1.46 times 10 to the 5th grams. So that finishes up for this chapter. So now you can do set 4. Thank you.